The world we live in has over 8 billion people, with almost 1.5 billion people calling India their home. Right from the beginning, our country was always a rich tapestry of different cultures and customs. In fact, if we go a few years back, each one of our citizens would have his or her own unique history. Therefore, a study of Indian history is a study of many collective pasts. And before we pursue such a mammoth task, we must find answers to three fundamental questions. How? How do we know about what happened in the past? Where? Where are the locations of the people and cultures that we will study about? And when? When did the events we are about to study take place? Namaste, Namaskaram, Sat Sri Akal, Adab, hi, and welcome to the History of India from our nation's textbooks. In this series, we will rely heavily on the work of professionals called archaeologists. These professionals present information gathered by following clues and traces left by people who lived in the past. Evidence such as manuscripts, inscriptions, paintings, tools, ornaments, buildings, coins, plant and animal remains, pots and pans, and sometimes even their own bodies, which were buried in our land. By collecting and carefully studying these pieces of evidence, historians can understand the lives of not only the kings and queens of the past, but also the lives of the common people, like herders, farmers, merchants, priests, craftspersons, artists, musicians, and scientists.
We have hit a keyword. Archaeologist.
Well, thank you, robot voice. Archaeologists are people who study human history through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains.
There is another keyword. Manuscript.
Okay, robot voice. A book, a document, or a piece of music written by hand rather than printed or digitally copied is called a manuscript. Let's look at our map to locate the regions where the people from our past lived. Some of the earliest people that we will learn about lived thousands of years ago along the banks of the Narmada River. These people collected fruits and vegetables or hunted wild animals or caught fish in order to feed themselves. Look here in the northwest. About 8,000 years ago, the Suleiman and Kurthur hills were the first areas where humans began growing crops. If you look towards the east, the Garo hills were another site where early agriculture developed. Back to the west, if we follow one of the major rivers of the subcontinent, the Indus, we can see the location of some of the earliest cities of the human civilization which developed almost 5,000 years ago. Moving along another major river, in the middle here, the Ganga, we find the site where the first large kingdom that existed in our country began its journey from a relatively modest city-state about 3,000 years ago. In the south, the banks of the Kaveri River were the location of some of the most powerful dynasties of the subcontinent that ruled about 2,000 years ago. Although we will briefly look at developments all over the subcontinent, these will be the locations of some of our explorations. It's also important to remember that throughout the thousands of years of our existence, people traveled across our vast subcontinent, exchanging food and culture and music and their way of life with each other. And this brings us to the when. Remember, we said India is an ancient country, but we're gonna go way in the past, even before we were a country or even a common culture. In fact, we're gonna start with the Paleolithic era and go all the way to just a few hundred years ago, and that will be the history that we will study.
We have hit a keyword. Paleolithic.
Hey, you sneaked up on me there, robot voice. Okay, Paleolithic, relating to or denoting the early phase of the Stone Age, which lasted about 2.5 million years and started 3.3 million years ago. Let's also look at how we're going to describe the years. For example, the year 2011. We can either describe it as 2011 or we can describe it as 12 years ago. 2011 actually refers to the number of years that have passed since the birth of Jesus Christ, whereas 12 years ago is what we measured from today. In this series, we'll use both these measures of time. Alright then, Now that we've undertaken this journey and we have some idea of where it might take us, I look forward to continuing on our path in the next video. Until then, be happy, stay healthy, and keep on learning.